From a powerful flood in Turkey that sent waves crashing over the road, and a windstorm in China that had everyone ducking for cover, to four friends who used pillows for helmets when hailstones fell from the sky, and ominous clouds over Laguna, Brazil that looked like the end of the world. Here are 10 times Mother Nature got angry on camera. China gets some crazy windstorms. One of the worst in recent history struck over the summer of 2023. It occurred in Zhejiang, China, a prefecture-level city in Sichuan province. It was July 17th of 2023. Folks were hard at work when a weather advisory came over the news. Local agencies were warning people about strong winds and heavy rains. Citizens were urged to stay inside and stay safe. These workers decided to record the storm instead. It was pure chaos after the storm passed. The wind ripped down awnings and knocked over billboards like they were made of printer paper. It snapped several trees and sent debris flying into people's cars. Thankfully, nobody was hurt during the typhoon-like conditions. The storm didn't spare any part of the building. You can see where roofs collapsed on top of parked cars. Some people were lucky and found their cars unscathed. Others had steel beams leaning against their windshields. It's unclear how fast the wind was blowing that day or how much damage the storm caused. Laguna, Brazil is a small fishing city on the country's southern tip. They're famous for their mutual agreement with the local bottlenose dolphin community. Basically, they help each other catch fish and have been doing so for over 150 years. But nobody was catching anything on January 14th of 2023 when an army of dark storm clouds rolled over the city. A local man stood outside the city and watched the storm form overhead. Thunder boomed in the distance, and the heavy rain-filled clouds practically blocked out the sun. He began recording moments before the storm clouds dumped buckets of water on the city. Now, it's not every day that you see clouds get that low. It feels like our cameraman could have reached out and touched them. Moments after the video ends, the rain clouds open up. Heavy winds swept through the city, and a tornado reportedly formed nearby. Under normal conditions, clouds appear white because the tiny water droplets inside are packed tightly together. They reflect sunlight, giving them that classic cloud look. Clouds darken when water vapor clumps together into raindrops. This creates gaps between the drops of water. Thus, the cloud reflects less light. That's why they'll appear black or gray. Tornadoes come in many shapes and sizes. They can be wide, skinny, wisp-like, or they can take that classic funnel form. When this twister touched down in eastern China, it took every possible shape in the book. It was August 13th of 2023. Locals on the outskirts of Yancheng City in Jiangsu province watched in terror as a rare tornado touched down. Unlike the central United States, where tornadoes are extremely common, China doesn't have many safety features or bunkers that people can run to. They can only hope the storm passes without taking their homes with it.
Okay.
他很清楚的呢。嗯，
哈，这切法了哇？
掐的原枪的，
就原枪的哇？
哎，
你可以往里冲啊。
嗯呐，
像那下趟还有做这个。
那我想啊，
下趟啊。
哦。
怕人的哦，整个被地里弄牛嘛哦。
龙卷风。
哎呀，等于怕死了。
外国呀，放我飞呀，外国的。
完蛋了。
哎。
这。
In the end, the storm damaged over 280 homes. You can see the path of destruction it left as locals walk through the carnage. People lost their crops, electric lines came down, and roofs were torn off with ease. The tornado was only on the ground for about 15 minutes. Winds peaked at roughly 65 miles per hour, which doesn't seem that fast by US standards, but remember, tornadoes are extremely rare in China. Between 1961 and 2010, there were only 165 confirmed storms. They don't build homes to withstand wind that fast, especially in the rural areas outside of major cities. Sütlüce is a small neighborhood in Istanbul, Turkey. It's home to roughly 12,000 people, a few of whom were looking for a new home after a landslide swallowed their old one. It was July 24th of 2018. As the story goes, an illegal apartment building went up in 1994, overlooking what's locally known as the Golden Horn. Today, the Golden Horn is a rapidly developing area. Back then, it was a polluted slaughterhouse district. A landslide caused the foundation to crumble, leaving the illegal building to defy gravity for several hours. A swarm of police and reporters arrived at the scene, waiting patiently for the building to finally fall.
Arkadaşlar, şöyle bir ekran bize boşaltırsanız hani orada ne yapıyorsunuz? Lojadan yer ayrılmış gibi sizin güven. Murat geliyor. Allah bina geliyor, bina geliyor. Girme.
Thankfully, everyone was evacuated long before the building fell. The mayor also said that those displaced would be given new homes immediately. Turkish footballer Arda Turan had recently bought the pit the building fell into. The building you see on the right, the one with the red awning, is a hotel he was building. We assume he needed the pit to expand his operations. The landslide was actually caused when the construction site's retaining wall failed. It's unclear who took the blame at the end of the day. Erzincan province is a landlocked state in east-central Turkey. It's home to about 239,000 people split between 9 administrative districts. This clip comes from the Uzumlu district, where Mother Nature unleashed a freak flash flood. Torrential rain had battered Turkey's eastern provinces in the waning days of August of 2023. All that water quickly overwhelmed the rivers, leading to massive torrents barreling downstream. The bed of the Uzumlu River was quickly overwhelmed, leading to a tidal wave of water, mud, and debris. Look at the massive puddle of muck left behind. Thankfully, nobody got hurt during the flash flood, and it looks like the water remained in the riverbed, for the most part. According to reports, the Uzumlu River had filled with mud and stones due to the rain. This created an artificial dam that eventually broke under pressure. All that water rushed through, creating the giant wave you saw when it smashed into the bridge. Nantong, China is a prefecture-level city in Jiangsu province. It's home to about 7.7 million people who lived through one of the worst thunderstorms in city history. It was April 30th of 2021. An extreme thunderstorm descended upon the city with winds over 100 miles per hour. It knocked out the power, turned over fishing boats, and pulled decorative trees from their places on the sidewalk. The entire city was in panic. Some were brave enough to film the storm while trapped in the middle of it. You don't need a natural disaster like a typhoon or an earthquake to cause extensive damage. Just look at how much chaos this thunderstorm caused once it finally ended. According to the local government, over 3,000 people were evacuated during the storm. Thankfully, nobody was in this car when that giant cylinder fell through the roof. Nantong is about 60 miles outside of Shanghai, on the opposite side of the Yangtze Delta. This thunderstorm impacted several eastern Chinese cities, but none got it as bad as Nantong. The next time you complain about your basement flooding, consider how bad other people might have it. Take those living in East Asia, for example, one of the most flood-prone places on Earth. Mother Nature loves to pummel places like China and India with buckets of water every rainy season. Sometimes it's enough to carry your car away. One of those floods occurred in Guilin County, China, a smaller community in Sichuan province. Torrential rain battered Guilin and the rest of southern China in July of 2023. In fact, it was the highest rainfall recorded in the area since records began in 1957. It completely flooded the roads and washed away cars like bath toys.
别人儿。
停满的车子全部落下去，然后遭冲走了。
走哦。
According to reports, 201 millimeters of rain fell in the area. That's nearly 8 inches of rain at once. All that rain overwhelms the drainage systems. Rivers overflow and relentlessly pour into the city. Response teams mobilized as quickly as they could to evacuate 1,900 households. Over 6,400 people fled for higher ground. Thankfully, nobody was reported lost in the flood. A bad hailstorm can cause some serious damage. If you've never experienced one, consider yourself lucky. These Chinese men in the prefecture-level city of Bijie learned how dangerous they can be. While out for a drive in April of 2023, a car full of friends heard something pelting their roof. Then, something took out their side view mirror. Something else cracked the windshield, and another object broke through the sunroof. They soon realized they were caught in a hailstorm. Thankfully, they had some pillows to keep over their heads.
我操，那个大的正好是砸在我的胳膊上。就这么大的雨在打翻。
大点也走。你看，比鹅蛋要大，好不好？
哎呦，这么大。 它主要是这种鱼是从山间爬过来的。
啊，
看看这冰雹。
那就找到山间把个水拖在
原来也搞死。
You can't help but feel bad for this poor guy. Imagine walking outside and finding your car looking like this. You might think someone had a bone to pick with you. You can even see where the hail fell hard enough to break the casing off the driver's side mirror. Our driver, Liu, said the car could be repaired. The most important thing is that everyone was okay. It's unclear, though, where they got the pillows from. They look more like seat cushions you'd find on wooden chairs, not something you'd keep in the car. Maybe luck was on their side. Or maybe they were coming back from Home Goods, or the Chinese equivalent of Home Goods, after buying new seat cushions. Acapulco is a popular resort city in southern Mexico. It's home to just over 1 million people living roughly 240 miles south of Mexico City. It's one of Mexico's oldest beach towns and by far the largest in the country. But on September 7th of 2021, everyone's night at the beach ended abruptly. A 7.0 magnitude earthquake struck about 11 miles northeast of the resort city. It damaged buildings, triggered rock slides, and caused chaos on major highways. But while filming from their high-rise apartment, these locals witnessed one of Mother Nature's more controversial events: earthquake lights.
No te preocupes, no te preocupes, no pasa nada. Sí, pero no te preocupes. Aquí estamos bien.
Ahí tranquilos, no se bajen ya. Quédense ahí en el marco de la puerta.
Aquí en el cubo, aquí en el cubo del elevador es lo más seguro.
Earthquake lights, or EQL, aren't rare, but they're commonly confused with arcing electrical wires and small explosions. Some scientists say the sudden burst of light is caused by friction within the Earth's crust. All that energy builds underground and then displays as flashes of light in the atmosphere. But according to the USGS, other scientists aren't convinced that what you're seeing is an actual geological event. It's impossible to know if those are just power lines or genuine earthquake lights from so far away. In fact, one US geologist believes the flashes you see in this video are, in fact, power lines. Cyclone Titli was a devastating tropical storm that caused extensive damage to eastern India in the fall of 2018. Roughly 300,000 people had to be evacuated as the storm moved up through the Bay of Bengal. When it arrived in Andhra Pradesh, it came with 78-mile-per-hour winds and a storm surge that flooded coastal villages. In the small town of Chikiti in Odisha, India, locals watched the Bahuda River rise to dangerous heights. Debris piled against a footbridge people used to cross over. They learned that when Mother Nature starts pushing, she eventually pushes whatever is in her way. The villagers you see were getting ready to cross the bridge when the others stopped them. They should consider themselves lucky. Had they been out there when it washed away, there's no telling where they would have ended up. Scenes like this were common during Cyclone Titli. Odisha recorded roughly 18 inches of rain in 48 hours. Floods, winds, and landslides caused about $920 million in damages. This footbridge was probably just a drop in the bucket. If you enjoyed this video and want to see another just like it, be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thanks for watching, and be sure to tune in next time.